Explain how this saved your marriage.
Yeah.
Because this will be powerful for people.
So my wife and I, we've been married now for 18 years.
Okay.
And a few years ago, we would constantly get in these fights that we would have these disagreements around household responsibilities. And she was complaining that I wasn't doing enough around the house. And my response was, honey, I'm not a mind reader. If you want me to do something, just tell me.
Which is a common comment.
You felt
by
this
men.
before, okay.
Yes. Which is obviously a cop-out. So go ahead.
Right, so what I didn't realize was that asking her to tell me what to do was itself asking her to do work. I was asking her to be my boss. And that's work. That takes effort. And it turns out the more I researched this topic, I found that this is very common, that in fact, studies have found that even in dual income heterosexual households, women today still take on a disproportionate share of household admin duties, unfortunately. When I give this talk in front of crowds, I always see women in the rooms, heads, oh yes, and the men are saying, no. That happens all the time. So what did we do? We would have these hours of fights over the years about this topic, and it really pulled us apart. So what do? We use this time boxing technique. We sat down, we wrote down the stuff that needs to happen on a weekly basis, and we didn't just stop with a to-do list. A lot of people have the honey-do list, right? I want you to do all these tasks. That's not good enough, because remember, that's only output. It's not input. The input is, when are you going to do those things?
Right.
And so now we sit down every week. She has her time box calendar. I have my time box calendar. And we do this schedule sync. And we say, okay, you're going to take our daughter to class this day. I need the car that day. You do this, you do that. Great. It takes 15 minutes. It saves us countless hours in the fights we used to have.
Right. So and now she knows you're doing it. She can see you're going to do it. And now you don't have to wait for her to try to tell you and remind you, and everyone can see it, and then it happens.
Exactly.
And you're accountable.
Because there's so many contingencies, right? So many times if I don't do one thing, then if I don't collect the trash, then she can't take it out, right? So I know when that's gonna happen. So for example, I do the meal prep in my household. Eating healthy is one of our values. And so we meal prep once a week so that my daughter and my wife and I have healthy food for the week. But if I don't cook that food on Saturday, she can't serve it later on in the week. So now we know exactly when those things are going to happen, and it has solved so many of our problems.
Yeah, you and everybody has problems with this. So and I still don't do enough around the house. I'll just say that right now to whoever's listening, including my wife. But when there were scheduled times in the past where I was doing things for the family, it was very helpful. So I used to take my stepdaughter to jiu-jitsu lessons every Saturday morning. We would get up, rain, sleet, or shine, and we would be out for 3 hours jiu-jitsu, and we'd always go for lunch afterwards. And that was just something to schedule. Now, Sundays, I'm always taking my boys out on Sunday for those couple hours. And I can feel that from my wife, it's important that we do it no matter what. And it's just like, it's something that's helpful for her, knowing that, okay, the kids are gone, she can do her thing, because it's for her a time box as well. So now she's got her break, she can take her shower, she can do whatever, and it definitely helps us.
I also want to emphasize, I'm not saying that you can't plan time for fun, by the way. I mean, you said it so on weekends, for example, I have 3 hours of time with my daughter that is planned spontaneity. It sounds like an oxymoron, but it's planned spontaneity. That time is for my daughter and nobody else. What we do with it, I don't care. We can be spontaneous with that time. That's totally fine. So I'm not saying everything in your day has to be work stuff, but if you value meditation, if you value journaling, if you value whatever it is that you want to do with your time, plan that time. It sounds intimidating, folks. It's really simple. It takes you maybe 30 minutes to do the first time. You do it 15 minutes a week to plan that week ahead and to ask yourself, how can I make my calendar easier to follow? That's what I want you to do in this repeated cycle, is to look at the week ahead and to figure out how it can be made better. So this is an iterative process. Becoming indistractable is not something you ever become. You're never done becoming indistractable, just like you're never done becoming a creative person, right? It's an iterative process that if you can build that skill set, it helps you in many different facets of your life.